5 best, 5 worst NFL teams. Josh and I will give you our favorite 5 or fine 5 and ugly 5. I got to tell you, Josh, I had a hard time with the fine 5. There are not 5 great teams in this league.
I had trouble with the fine, and I had trouble with the last spot in the ugly.
Yeah, my last 2 uglies were difficult. There's a lot of 3 and 4 teams that are like the quote-unquote bad teams. All right, let's see who they are this week in the fine 5 and the ugly 5. Starting with the uglies, 5 up, I've got Carolina at number 5 in my ugly 5. I had them there last week. They didn't play, which means they didn't win, so they're still 1-5. And guess what? They deserve to be in here. They've given up 176 points. They've lost 4 in a row, and they've got all sorts of problems going. I don't know what their problem is, like to specifically pinpoint it, but they belong in the uglies.
So I stuck the Panthers in mine too, basically because I had to take the Dolphins out.
Yeah.
And the Jets actually won a game. So for now, I'm going to stick the Panthers at 5. The Jets are number 6, though. So the Jets are lurking on the outside, hoping to come inside again.
I'm interested to see who is in over the Jets. Oh, I can figure out who it is. I got the Jets in there at number 4, and I know they won, but my reasoning is they got all sorts of quarterback. I mean, the Fitzpatrick thing, and then Geno gets hurt. Now they got to go back to Fitzpatrick. And having to go back to Fitzpatrick is the same issues you had before. And I think that is enough to keep them in the ugly 5. But I think I see a team that you probably have in this spot that I might have overlooked.
Mike, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am exasperated with the Jaguars.
PT?
It's big word.
I think Gus Bradley needs to go after this year. I have no understanding why a team that has those kind of weapons struggles in every week. Like, this is a team last year that at least was competitive in most games.
I think somebody brought up a point about this a couple of weeks ago. Blake Bortles put up big numbers last year.
Yes, he did.
They were constantly playing from behind, so he's thrown against prevents, and his numbers inflate. Now you got close games. They're asking Bortles to win, and he's not good enough.
I don't think that team is coached well enough. That's my problem.
Infuriating, annoying, irritating, maddening, provoking, irksome, vexatious.
I like that, vexatious.
Or trying, all synonyms of exasperating.
Number 3, Chicago.
Same.
Yes, the Cubbies are in the World Series, but your football team is one of the worst teams in the league. Jay Cutler this week basically says, hey, how about the confidence John Fox is in you? Well, he's got no choice. I'm the only guy he's got. I'm pretty much all he's got. It's like my dance moves, PT. It's pretty much all I got.
Slim and none?
Cleveland, number 2.
Wow,
is
you
number
bumped
2.
them down.
Yeah, you know why? Cleveland's a city of champions. Cleveland's a city of winners. I can't have them as the worst team in the league. You know why? They fight. They try hard. Unlike my number 1 team in the league, who doesn't fight, they don't try hard. They've given up 219 points, worst in the league. They cause problems. They've got a coach who doesn't want to be there, I would assume, any longer. They've lost 6 in a row. Sounds like a resume for the worst team in the league, the San Francisco 49ers.
I saw the Browns at 1 just because they haven't won a game. Until they win that game, I cannot rationalize it.
Well, they give better effort than the 49ers do. There's a rationalization right there for you.
Listen, you know I want to
Cleveland's a city of champions.
You know I want to...
Which is a bizarre statement in itself.
Listen, I am cheering for Kevin Hogan and the Browns this Sunday to win a game.
Joe Callahan comes in, wins it, although it looks like McCown's going to start this week out there.
And he'll probably get injured again.
Most likely.
Which means Hogan will be back in.
All right, fine 5. These are the 5 best teams in the NFL. I got a wild card in here.
Oh.
Number 5, I picked them to win the division, so I can't really have them any lower. I've got Kansas City in at number 5. I think Kansas City is poised to do something similar to what they did last year. I don't think they're going to win 11 in a row, but I think they're about to go on a nice run. They seem like they've settled themselves in. I like Kansas City right now better than I like Denver and Oakland, and I can't find another team out there that really jumps off the page when I'm looking for number 5. So I'm going Kansas City as my number 5 team.
Well, Mike, I think our top 5 is going to be very different except for number 1, just based on what you just said. Because my number 5 team, I'm putting the Cowboys in. They weren't in last week. I'm putting them in this week. Best offensive line in the NFL. Running game.
5 wins in a row.
I've had Dallas in for weeks,
I
and
know you
they're
have.
in my list very prominently this week. Number 4 for me, they might have kissed their sister last week, but they're still one of the best teams in the league. Number 4 with the tie, Seattle, but you got to do a better job. They've only scored 111 points offensively the entire season. That's hideous. On the flip side, they've only given up 84. And you know me, I like to lead defense, so Seattle stays even with the tie. That tie's on the road, so it's a better tie for them than it was for Arizona.
Yeah, I have Seattle in my list, but they're at number 3 for me. My number 4 team is the Vikings. I feel like the Vikings were exposed a little bit. I think you saw a lot of things in that offensive line that would be problematic. They might go on a little losing streak here, Mike.
I got Minnesota at number 3. Yeah, they were exposed a little bit. You know what, though? This league is about making adjustments. I like Zimmer. This is not an offensive-minded team to begin with. One of the reasons they got exposed is because they got down in the game, not because of their defense, though. They got down in the game because they gave up a special teams touchdown. And a lot of times Minnesota will yuck it up with their defense, maybe get that lead, and then the game changes. So I still like Minnesota because of their defense. And if Minnesota plays Seattle, that's going to set the game back offensively to the Stone Ages. But they both play unbelievable defense, and I think Minnesota's defense is slightly better than Seattle's defense. So I'll go Minnesota slightly over Seattle right now. Now, remember, I had Minnesota number 1 basically for 4 straight weeks there.
Right. And I have Seattle at 3 ahead of Minnesota because one team has Russell Wilson and one team doesn't.
Who do you have at number 2?
You give your 2 first.
I got Dallas at number 2. Dallas to me, hey, find me another team in the league. You got somebody, but find me another team in the league that runs the ball, doesn't turn the ball over, has an offensive line that can grind games out. I mean, to me, and I know Dallas defense doesn't jump off the page, they've only given up 107 points because they can control the clock. I love that about them. Hey, Dallas to me is one of the most complete teams going right now. I hate to say it, but I gotta give an honest opinion here. Dallas to me has been the second best team over the last 3 weeks.
To me, the team I stuck at number 2, and they probably will be at 2 next week, but I'm going to give them a shot this week. Do they have the NFL MVP? That's Denver Broncos. Von Miller. This guy has been so disruptive this year. He is earning every cent of that paycheck. He is going out and just making offensive linemen look foolish. And to me, Trevor Siemian had about 3 throws. That's all. I was just like, how can I not give this guy credit for being a solid starting NFL quarterback? So, you know what? I like the Broncos defense. I like this team. I'll put them at number 2.
Interesting. So your 2 team is not in my 5.
Correct. Well, your 5 team isn't in my 5.
Well, that's 5 is different than 2. Patriots at the top.
Absolutely. Best team in football, best coach in football, best quarterback in football, best tight end tandem in football, might be the best running back 1-2 punch in football. They got it all.
That's the Fine 5 and the Ugly 5 this week. Our 5 favorite, our 5 worst teams in the NFL. Not a lot of candidates for the top 5 spots, not a lot of candidates for the bottom 5 spots. It's a league filled of parity.